And as promised, we do get a chance to catch up with Gordy Presnell, the head coach of the women's basketball team over at Boise State. 18th year now, Gordy, at Boise State. Does it seem like it's been 18 years?
It's gone really fast. I've had a really great time here, enjoyed it. We got great support here, and we've been able to do some wonderful things, and want to come back and hopefully do some more.
Well, we appreciate your time. I know you're busy in preseason training here, getting ready for the season with practice and stuff, but I know Bronco fans are excited to kind of get a look into the team this year and how things are looking. I know last year was a rare struggle for you. You haven't had too many losing seasons in your entire career. What just now that you're moved on to a new season, I know you're excited, but how tough was last year to deal with for you?
Yeah, it was tough. It really was, and we knew it was going to be a real rough year. My bosses knew it'd be a real rough year. We kind of decided to switch gears, thought maybe we were going in a little bit in the wrong direction. And so there were some changes, personnel. And so we brought some new kids in. And then unfortunately, the kids that we brought in to bridge the year got injured, but they're back this year. So the reality is we have about 75% of our offense back, but we have six people. Two that would have really contributed last year are back. And then we've signed maybe the best class we've ever had, a freshman class, and they're going to contribute immediately.
Yeah, I mean, 5 of the last 8 years, you've been cutting down the nets and going to the NCAA tournament. I mean, it had to be a weird year for you, but how excited are you just to kind of turn the page? And you mentioned the 4 freshmen that I wanted to talk about, but you got a couple of key returners that were big for you as well. I mean, do you feel like this group has a chance to get you back to where you've been here previously?
I sure hope so. I've never been more excited about a group. Now, obviously, role acceptance and injury play a big part in team development and success at the end of the line. But on paper, we feel really good about where we're at. We've got an Elodie Lalade and Abby Muse, a really good post, almost double doubles, both of them not quite last year, and they still have 3 years of eligibility with the COVID year. Mary Kay Naro, our point guard, is back, and once again, also 3 years. Anna Osley's back, and then Mandy Simpson played 4 years of basketball at Oklahoma, and we thought she'd be a great bridge between this gap we had last year. And she hurt her back and was out for the season, so she's back, and so we feel really great about her. So our post stuff's pretty good, and then the newcomers, Danny Bays out of Australia is maybe as good as anybody we've ever had. And once again, she has to stay healthy, and homesickness can't get her. And I'm sure Christmas time will be tough for her, but she's a really talented player, as good as we've had. And then Maya Hansen, our freshman from Montana, is a 2-time Montana State Player of the Year. She's going to play. Natalie Pasco is a California NorCal Player of the Year. And then Tatum Thompson is just extremely talented, and she's the Miss Washington basketball MVP of the state tournament, MVP of the state All-Star game. So wow. We've got a great group coming back, and really looking forward to see what we can do.
Well, I know Elodie's got a cool story. My intern last year wrote about her, journey to get to this point. And you mentioned Abby. I mean, to have 2 front court players that are essentially getting close to double doubles on a nightly basis. You mentioned Abby averaged over 10 points, 7 rebounds last year. Same with Elodie, 9.7 points, 7.4 rebounds. I mean, when you got not 1 but 2 players in the front court like that, how impressive have they been, and how much better can they get this year?
Elodie is in the shape of her life. She put a lot of time in and has done well. And Abby is just real long and athletic. And then, Mandy Simpson from Oklahoma, her junior year, I think she was 8th in the Big 12 in rebounding.
That's true, yeah.
So we got a good nucleus there. I'm excited that, the big problem we had last year was finishing games and then shooting from the perimeter, which has always been kind of our forte. And so I think we've filled those gaps a little bit, and now we just got to go out and perform. We've been going since July. 2 weeks ago, we started going up 20 hours a week. And so we're ready to try to play somebody else here pretty soon.
And I know you're excited about the freshman class, but I mean, some of those previous teams you just had such good, veteran leadership and talented juniors and seniors. How excited are you to now when you mentioned Mandy? And I know she didn't play last year, but being having plenty of college experience under her belt, some of the other returners. I know you're going to count on the freshmen, but how important is it to have some returners and veterans that have done this and been through the war? Even if some of them are only sophomores or juniors, that's still better than going in as a freshman.
You're right. And team development is critical. We're reading the energy bus right now as a team. Mandy's been through the wars in the Big 12. I mean, she had some great games, 22 and 18, I think, against LSU, and so she's doing a good job being a leader. But Elodie Lalata's really stepped up, Abby stepped up, and so I think our leadership will be good. It's got to develop, like you say, and it's going to take some time. I mean, Mandy's going to graduate this year, but everyone else still has about 3 years of eligibility. So we're in a good situation. We chose not to do the whole portal thing because we're counting on these freshmen. We're trying to build from within, and then maybe add some portal pieces in the spring.
How rare is that in this day and age? You didn't add a single transfer, and now with the whole portal thing. I mean, that must really say a lot about how you feel about these freshmen.
I do, and we're investing, and our administration's invested. They know exactly what we're doing. And I think you could correct me wrong, but I think we're the only school in the whole nation that didn't lose anyone to the portal or gain anyone for the portal. So, it's one of those things. Now that portal window's gotten smaller, and so we're going to have to do our business and see what happens in the spring.
What's when your 36th year as a head coach, and I joked before we started about I'm sure your first year you were doing a technological setup like this on a laptop for a live interview, but you think about NIL and transfer portal and all the changes from when you got into coaching. It's probably not nearly the same kind of job as it is when you first started.
It isn't. There's a lot of fires off the floor that you have that you didn't have back then, for sure. The other side of that, though, is the talent level has increased so much. The ability to just have skill work, passing, dribbling, the athleticism, all that has changed. And that's gone across the board. All sports are probably the same way. But, that part has been the fun part. The fires aren't always fun, that's for sure.
You mentioned Danny Bays from Australia, and from my understanding is just an unbelievable three-point shooter. Is that something that you were lacking last year, or do you think that her three-point shooting is something that's going to help you guys?
Absolutely. Danny is a terrific player. I believe she was the only teenager invited to New Zealand national team tryouts.
Wow.
She played at NBL 1, and so she's coming in here, and all our other freshmen are playing with 14, 15, 16-year-olds, and she's been playing with 27, 28-year-olds, and her post player on her team was drafted by the Storm and played center for Stanford. So
wow.
She's has a little different level of experience than everyone else for a freshman.
What about the schedule this year? I know you guys got a couple big home games. You got BYU, Colorado coming in. You're going to a couple, I don't know if they're called tournaments, but at least a couple things where you play a couple games. What do you make of the schedule this year, and how did you kind of want to build it coming off a rough year last year where you're trying to get some winnable games and have some confidence? But, I mean, obviously you're playing some tough games as well. How'd you want to build the schedule this year?
That's a great question, and we put a lot of strategy into it, I'll tell you. We play one road game, and we go to UC Davis, who is a perennial Big West, competes for their championships there. And then the other 4 road games are all neutral games. A lot of the big schools do that. And so then we play neutral games. And then we have a little stretch in December. Hopefully we've gained our confidence that we play, I believe we play BYU and Colorado and St. Mary's, all real good programs. BYU and Colorado are both NCAA tournament top 25 teams last year. So we've tried to build this thing that we can rise up and maybe get ready to play when the Mountain West Conference comes along. And there was a lot of strategy put into that, and hopefully it'll pay off for us. The conference is the top half is the best it's been in years and years and years. The bottom half is still going to be pretty rough. So hopefully we'll be in that top half battling for a championship. We'll see.
What motivates you at this point, Gordy? I mentioned all the years in coaching, and I'm sure for you, like I said, a year like last year is not one you've had to deal with very often. Does that light a fire in you in the offseason going into this year? I mean, what makes you put that coffee pot on at 5 a.m. when you get up every morning and push to want to get back on track here?
That's a great question too, and I felt like we weren't going in the right direction, and so we lost about 7 kids. And Chris Peterson used to be a friend of mine when he was here, and he had these things called OKGs, our kind of guys, for recruits. And we weren't doing well academically, and we weren't doing well culturally, and so we made a transition into all these kids coming in and sticking with it and counting on them, and so they fire me up. This is all our kids that we feel really good about, and that our version of OKGs. And we've already made the adjustment academically. We're 7th in the country last year in academics, a 3.74, which is pretty high for for any sport.
Yeah.
3 point and number 7. And so now we got to get it done on the court. And we'll put all our eggs in this basket. And this is the way we want to do it, build it. And we got great support from our administrators all the way to Dr. Trump. And everyone knows what we're trying to do. And we're going to get it done.
What would be your pitch, I guess, as we kind of start to wrap this up? What would be your pitch to fans watching? If you were trying to hawk season tickets on the street corner or whatever, I mean, why should you sound really excited about this team? That's probably enough, but why should fans come on out and see you guys this year?
I think they'll make you feel good. I think you're going to see an amazing amount of enthusiasm. It's the most vocal, talking, enthusiastic group I've ever had. They're a bunch of freshmen that don't care. They're just going to play their tails off. And I think we're going to compete. And I think we got good post presence. We got seasoned point guard play, and then we've added perimeter shooting. So hopefully we'll be worth watching. That's for sure.
I know you're a big sports fan, Gordy. What do you? I know you're in the gym most of the day, but are you watching playoff baseball these days? Are you a college football, NFL? I know you're a big sports fan. What piques your interest this time of year?
Seattle Mariners are going to the World Series.
You heard it here. You get a chance to watch those games.
Series.
Is that pretty cool to watch those 2 games over the weekend?
Oh my goodness! I've had the fortune to throw out the first pitch twice at Mariner games, and we followed them all along. And we're just so excited. My whole family sat through that game when it was 8-1.
You didn't turn it off.
We could have gone to a college football game because our family loves college football. We stuck through it, and it was one of the greatest games in the history of baseball, in my opinion. Obviously, we were on the winning side of that, so we think that.
Well, I think when they make game 1 of the World Series, they're going to ask you to come throw out the first pitch again, probably here in a couple of weeks. But, that's really cool. So, congrats to your Mariners, and hopefully they can keep it rolling. My Cardinals are out, so I've kind of adopted Seattle as my team, at least for the playoffs, for folks like you and a lot of friend of mine, Jay Tust, a big Mariners fan. So, appreciate your time, Gordy. When's the first exhibition game? When can fans first see you guys out on the – oh, you don't have it? That's all right.
November 4th.
Okay,
November. Idaho. Yeah.
So it's only a couple weeks away. Fans can see you guys here
ready
pretty soon, and obviously all the information on the schedule and tickets and everything at broncosports.com. But really appreciate your time as always, Gordy. Best of luck. Stay healthy here, getting ready for the season, and looking forward to seeing you guys at Extra Mile Arena here real soon.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on your show.
No problem.